As the first negative, I would like to refute the claims that that the second affirmative, Kimberly, has stated. Yes, she has stated herself that the purchasing power will be lowered if minimum wage was increased. However, if the purchasing power is lowered, that means that Americans have less money may have more money, but can't purchase as much. Which means that increasing the minimum wage would not be beneficial because Americans wouldn't have enough money to purchase them in the first place. Which means that if you increase the minimum wage, then the purchasing power will be lowered, which means that Americans will not be able to purchase as much, which would hurt the economy. So basically, if minimum wage was to increase, then the purchasing power would decrease, which means that Americans would lose more rather than gain more. Also, she has stated that in 1968 that this was the height that with minimum wage, a family of two would be able to afford and live comfortably out of the poverty line. However, what she forgot to mention was that this was the height of the minimum wage, when inflation was low and minimum wage was high. As she herself has stated, inflation has increased regardless of minimum wage increases. That means that between 1968 and 2015, the inflation has increased slightly every year, regardless of an increase in minimum wage. Now, if we were to increase the minimum wage to $10, as we increased it in 1968, she did not calculate all the little increases in inflation that happened before and the inflation that would occur if we were to implement this minimum wage, which would make it so that the minimum wage would still be lower than it was in 1968, which means that a family of two would not be able to live comfortably. Therefore, increasing the minimum wage would still put workers below the poverty line. As I have stated here in PewResearch.org, that the peak of the minimum wage was 1968 at $8.54. This was accounted for inflation. If we were to increase it to $10, that she has not calculated the inflation that has occurred in those many years where inflation has creeped a little bit, along with the huge boost of inflation that would occur if we actually implement $10 per hour. While the current minimum wage is $7.25 per hour, if we were to increase it, so would inflation by a large amount, which makes her 1968 statistic invalid because she forgot to include that this did not account for all those little increases in inflation. Now, when she said herself that other prices or other companies must adjust for some way, she herself has not given any other cuts that would go as an increase of minimum wage. In an article from Fool.com, it is stated that worker benefits would be the first to go as an initiative for companies to save money. In this way, companies will cut worker benefits, will cut workers first before they cut their own profits, as she has not stated any other alternative. Thank you very much for listening.